Exploited, broken and abandoned, Steve Dymond's tragic story took a devastating turn just days after a failed lie detector on the Jeremy Kyle Show.
So pick your cup up and get ready to grow from the drama and learn from the chaos. A staple of British daytime television, The Jeremy Kyle Show first aired on July 4th, 2005 on ITV. It quickly gained popularity for offering a platform where ordinary people could air their personal grievances in front of a live studio audience. At its peak, the show attracted over 1 million viewers per episode.
That's crazy.
That's big numbers. Yeah, man. We gonna get there one day. 1 million views, know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with the Jeremy.
You want to see me do it again?
If you're familiar with the Jerry Springer Show in the US, think of the Jeremy Kyle Show as the British counterpart. So at the centre of it all was Jeremy Kyle, an English broadcaster known for his straight talking, no nonsense attitude.
You want him back?
No, I
Then why are you allowing a man to do that to you then? Don't you think you should raise the bar a bit?
Yeah, definitely.
I do.
Obviously, I never.
Don't you think that makes you look a bit disgusting?
Yeah.
Kyle's approach was both a blessing and a curse. His blunt advice earned him a loyal following, but it also led to significant backlash. Critics accused the show of exploiting vulnerable people, often airing the grievances of society's most disaffected members for public entertainment.
It's a very cruel show, and I think ITV would be best advised to stop making it. It's 2019, we're in Mental Health Awareness Week, and I think it would be a very strong statement from ITV.
Many saw it as a platform for Kyle to ridicule guests under the guise of moral superiority, transforming their real struggles into a public spectacle.
The thing about the Jeremy Kyle Show is I think that if you're going to take a moral standpoint like that, you should pretty much come with clean hands.
When you talk about people's lives in the way that Jeremy Kyle talked about people's lives, then you better have clean hands. You can't talk to somebody like that if you've got a gambling addiction.
I think every gambler, without being specific, probably gets sucked into that I can make money out of nothing, talks about that buzz. But you never met a poor bookie. You never ever, you go to casinos nowadays, there's cash machines. This was 20 years ago for me, you know, and I still have a punt, I say in the book, right? Yeah. But then I should have listened to the old man years ago who said that when you gamble, you start with an amount of money and when it's gone, but you go back and you go back to the cash pot and you go back and then you start chasing and you start getting panicky. And I remember sitting there for like 3 hours, you know, every race of every meeting. You know, at one point I'd have taken odds on whether it was going to snow in Trafalgar Square, you know. Ridiculous, but true.
Can you imagine bopping into William Hill and like, Jezza! Yeah!
Obviously, he's been very open about his addiction with gambling and trying to overcome that. But when you have those type of demons, innit, you have to be very careful how you talk to people because people can pull your card.
You had a moment on the show recently where one of the guys you're going after suddenly turns on you, and it's in the papers today, the Jeremy Kyle showdown.
So what I will say in Jeremy's defense is sometimes you've used a tough love approach on yourself to get yourself out of a hole.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you assume that that tough love works on everybody else.
Damn, Ron, come on! What's the matter with you?
Tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow!
But one of the things about being a motivator and being a coach is understanding that everybody has different ways to how they respond, innit? According to a former producer,
as soon as you speak to someone, you say, have you ever had schizophrenia or bipolar or whatever, and they're like instant no's. And then the depression was like a grey area. Like, if they'd been depressed for ages, it was all right. But if they were only just diagnosed as depressed, it was bad. So what? Because they're only
What the kind of logic is that?
because if they've only been on medication for less than 6 weeks, then it might not have taken effect. But if they've been on it more than 6 weeks, you could say it's working and they're not depressed.
Yeah, but
if they'd had it attempts in the last year, or I can't remember the exact times, but if they had reached in such a time, no, you can't come on. But if it was like 10 years ago,
Charlotte Scott, another former producer, wrote a revealing piece for The Guardian describing the show as nothing short of bear baiting, where confrontations were deliberately orchestrated by producers to create the most explosive, controversial episodes.
This cynical approach to TV production had tragic consequences. In May 2019, the world saw the devastating impact of this production style when the Jeremy Kyle Show was abruptly suspended after a guest tragically took his own life.
Given the gravity of recent events, we have decided to end production of The Jeremy Kyle Show. The Jeremy Kyle Show has had a loyal audience and has been made by a dedicated production team for 14 years, but now is the right time for the show to end. Everyone at ITV's thoughts and sympathies are with the family and friends of Steve Dymond.
That guest was Steve Dymond, and his story marked the beginning of the show's end.
Steve Dymond was a 63-year-old man who in May 2019 appeared on the Jeremy Kyle Show in an attempt to salvage his relationship with his long-term partner Jane.
Steve, who had admitted to lying about various aspects of his life, was determined to prove that he had remained faithful, volunteering to take the show's infamous lie detector test.
Okay, and what if he fails the lie detector?
Yeah.
Let's do this all-important lie detector results as ever. True. Tess says you're a liar.
Well, I'm telling the truth.
Tess says you're a liar, pal.
Steve hoped this would clear his name. But before we continue, it is crucial to understand that the lie detector test is highly controversial.
Former domestic violence and prosecutor Elaine E. Lukic even called them unreliable and untrustworthy at best. She explained that the accuracy of these tests can vary widely depending on the skill of the operator and the individual being tested.
There was a guy who rang me every week for like 10 weeks saying, I want to come on, my missus wants to come on. So first of all, him and his missus want to come on. I was like, Sam, we could do that. And then every week, his missus would drop out and she'd go, oh no, he obviously wanted to go on. That's enough for me. He would have proved it. And then the next week it would start again. And he kept ringing and she kept dropping out. And in the end I was like, hey, you can't keep wasting my time, keep doing it. And then he went away for a little bit. And then he rang someone else. He spoke to someone else. And he got on and he failed the lie detector. And I was like, I know there's no way that he was lying. He was so desperate. Failed the lie detector. She split up with him straight away and he was gutted. And I was like, this lie detector is clearly not right. So I'm like, right, I'm not doing this lie detector anymore.
The American Polygraph Association indicated that the polygraph is a highly accurate tool detecting deception in approximately 80 to 90% of cases. But bro, the guys who talk about polygraphs, their whole institution, do you expect them to come out and say, by the way, our polygraphs suck nuts?
There was one story, this was before I worked for him. So someone was doing a lie detector and they admitted on stage, yeah, I was lying before the results were read out. But the results, they'd passed.
Yeah.
So someone had to be in Jeremy's ear and like, don't open the envelope, don't open the envelope. So he was like, oh, well, I suppose we don't need to listen, don't need to open this, and just threw it away.
During the Jeremy Kyle Show episode, Steve Dymond questioned the accuracy of the test.
They're 99.9%.
No, that's DNA testing.
Oh.
Polygraphs about 95%, between 93 and 95%. So it's very accurate, but we're very careful. Part of the reason we have two examiners here is that we double check all the work before it goes out. So this test will be checked by Tristan.
Right.
And Tristan, I'll check Tristan as well. And we make sure that we narrow the risk of error to a minimum. We can't guarantee 100% certainty, but we will do everything we can to get to that level of percent.
The examiner added, if you fail one question, you failed a lot.
Sometimes people come in here, and they genuinely come in, they haven't had sex with anybody else other than their partner in a relationship. But they have done other things, maybe kissed somebody, or maybe they've they've done something with somebody, and they think to themselves, well, I'll fail the kissing question, but I'll pass the other two. And my partner will go mad about the kissing. This is what they think to themselves. But at least I'll pass, and at least it'll prove I haven't had sex.
That's good because I haven't done any of them.
Well, that's good. But if you have kissed somebody and you fail the whole test and result of that, it's no good coming back later going, oh, I didn't have sex with anyone, but I did kiss someone, because you'd have a big problem. Yeah. But you understand, you fail one question, you fail
a lot.
Good.
So Steve Dymond failed the polygraph test. This resulted in him being exposed as a liar on the national stage.
Since the start of your relationship with Jane, have you passionately kissed anyone else? She said no. Why did she say no, Steve?
Because I was telling the truth.
Test says you're a liar, pal. Just so you're aware, you failed every single question.
Oh my God, I was never unfaithful.
Gotta go and talk to her.
And leading him to being booed by the crowd, and this reaction had devastating consequences. Despite the test results, the public scrutiny that followed, Steve remained steadfast until his final moments, insisting that he was telling the truth and that the lie detector test was flawed.
Everything! Everything!
Jane, I haven't.
So you run over to your fish and you meet her and everything. So that's wrong, is it?
Yes, I swear
So the serial liar goes into the Jeremy Kyle lie detector and gets called a liar, and my test's wrong, yeah?
I swear to God, I'll swear on anything.
But I think there is an air around when one person is essentially bullied, you know, and I think that there is that kind of element, because you've got like Jeremy Kyle, who's like Zeus, do you know what I'm saying? And then you've got like his minions, which is like the crowd, innit? And they come in to provide that public reaction. So when you think about the person who's going into that setting, you're just one person kind of surrounded by this like Jeremy Kyle universe. And that can be a lot, especially if you've like beat yourself up over like certain situations. So like you're like, oh, why did I lie? I shouldn't have lied to her. You know, now look, we're on the Jeremy Kyle show. And then I was like, boo! Yeah, you're gonna feel something, and you got Jeremy saying, you toe rag! It's gonna create that kind of environment where you're like, yeah, this is like damning.
There's a wonderful part between Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart, they can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
Jeremy Kyle created an environment. The show in of itself is there to put vulnerable people in the spotlight and for people to make fun of them in order to take some comfort in their own lives. It's wrong, but there's something cathartic about it. Ultimately, I think that the responsibility is for the host to create a warm environment in order to solve difficult problems like this one. Like you say, you're dealing with vulnerable people. They've come to you as a mediator on public television, and I think that you might want to take a bit more care with vulnerable people. That's my views, but let us know what you think in the comments. Unfortunately, Steve Dymond's appearance on the show took a tragic turn. The fallout from Steve's death prompted an immediate review, and the show was swiftly cancelled, marking the end of a controversial era in British television.
However, the tragedy of the Jeremy Kyle show serves as a grim reminder of the toll that reality TV can take on vulnerable individuals.
We asked Harry, did you steal the golf clubs that went missing from your mum's shed? You said no. Why'd you say no?
Telling the truth.
Tess says you're a complete liar.
Harry Henson says this moment started his spiral into depression. He knew he wasn't a thief. The lie detector said otherwise.
I stole nothing!
Up until his final moments, Steve Dymond remained adamant that he was telling the truth, that the lie detector test had gotten it wrong. And despite the test results, he clung to his version of events, but the damage had already been done.
At Winchester Coroner's Court, it was revealed that Mr. Dymond passed away at his home on Grafton Street due to a combination of a morphine overdose and complications from the left ventricle hypertrophy. Nah. I'm not going out like this, man.
Due to a combination of a morphine overdose and complications from left ventricular hypertrophy. The inquest also brought to light Mr. Dymond had struggled with his mental health for years. Diagnosed with a depressive disorder in 1995, he had a history of including multiple, one in 1995, two in December 2002, and another in April 2005.
These tragic events have sparked an inquest into the Jeremy Kyle Show, revealing disturbing details about how it operates behind the scenes.
Most of the times, those people didn't take the help. So everyone got offered therapy or counselling or whatever after the show. Everyone who wanted it could have it. But 99% of people, even who said they wanted it, just didn't turn up. So, to be fair, we did help some people. Like, there's a lot of addicts that came on that got like rehab and got clean and stuff, and that was good. Although we reunited some like long lost family and stuff, that was good.
Sure.
But there's a lot of people who did not get help, and it made their lives worse. So.
This raised critical questions about the effectiveness of the systems in place to protect individuals in crisis, especially when they are thrust into highly stressful public scenarios like reality TV. Media producers should be kind of linked in with mental health services and general social services. I know it's not necessarily like a given responsibility, but in the job that I work as a social worker, we say things like safeguarding is everybody's business. And in this situation, you know, it was very clear that Mr. Dymond needed to be safeguarded to some degree in around his mental health. And I feel like not having that information, or having that information and not doing anything about it, is kind of just like watching somebody in the street having a mental breakdown and just deciding that you're just going to walk past them.
If you are extracting a group of people, like you are selecting for the most deprived people and people who are really, really seeking help, because most people wouldn't go on TV to talk about their business. If they're gonna go on a show like Jeremy Kyle, where they know he's gonna be hostile, he's going to be aggressive, some people might be going for their 15 minutes of fame, sure. But other people may really have gone to a point where they really need help. If you're going to make a buck off these people, the least you can do is make sure that they have decent aftercare.
Was the Jeremy Kyle Show directly responsible for Steve Dymond's tragic passing, or was it merely an unfortunate confluence of circumstances?
Do you believe the show's relentless pursuit of drama contributed to Steve's demise, or was his death the result of a series of personal and systemic failures? If you made it to the end of this video, consider subscribing for more on controversial online stories, and let us know what you think in the comments. Until then, my name is Sammy.
My name is Don.
Learn from your drama, grow from your chaos, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bow.